We're back in the workshop today, working on the forklift, playing with my puppies. This is Brutus. Yeah. And this is Butchie. If you've been watching the channel, you've seen Brutus and Butchie a bunch of times. They're my shop companions, always out here with me. Well, not always out here. They're outside a lot too, but they're in checking on me like every 20 minutes. So we're working on the Cub Cadet forklift build, and we're well into it at this point. The task at hand for today and tomorrow, probably next day or so, this week's episode, is to get the mast mounted on the back of the tractor. This is the forklift mast. It's laying face down on these sawhorses. This is the lift cylinder. There's a carriage that will ride between the rails. The forks and will be on this side. Of course, this whole thing will stand up vertically at the back of the tractor. Actually, this is the front of the tractor, because this Cub Cadet from the mid-70s, 50-year-old Cub Cadet, I think it's a 1972, so it is literally 50 years old, has been turned around and we're driving it backwards. So the forklift mast will be at the rear here, which is now the front, and that's our objective for this episode, is to get this mast stood up on the back of and attached to the tractor. Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Frank here, working on the Cub Cadet forklift build. So we've got the mast largely finished. Got a couple loose ends we need to tie up today, and in this episode, if all goes well, we'll get this mast mounted to the rear of the tractor, get the wheels back on. You'll be happy to hear that I'll swap the wheels from side to side. Been a lot of comments about the directional tires, but we'll fix that concern once and for all, and get the mast mounted to the back of the tractor. I did get the forks. There's a pair of 3,000-pound rated 36-inch forks. I decided to buy a set of forks rather than fabricate. I felt like the fabrication was a bit of a challenge for me, given the equipment I have, and just wanted to be safe and make sure that the forks were, rated for what I expect to do. Now, the design parameters for this forklift build is 1,000 pounds. Lift 1,000 pounds with these 36-inch forks. So it's 1,000 pounds centered in the middle of the fork, 18 inches out from the back of the fork. And that puts it almost 30 inches from the rear axle, I think was my calculation. If you go back to one of the first episodes, I do a balance calculation and determine how much counterweight we'll need to add. We will need to add several hundred pounds, 300 or 400 pounds of counterweight to the front of the tractor by the time we get done. But this episode, we're working on the mast. I've got the mast largely finished. I mean, there's some loose ends. I'm going to go ahead now and drill the holes here for the eyelet, the eyes, load lifting eyes. I've got the set of eyes on the carriage, and I need to put the set of eyes to hold the other end of the cable here to the bottom of the mast. So we'll drill 2 holes here, and then we'll move over to the tractor, and in this subframe that we've built, I'm going to drill a couple holes on the forward end, put a couple bolts into the frame to hold that end of this 3/8 inch plate steel frame reinforcement, or call it the Mast subframe, bolt that to the tractor frame. So got a couple things to do here this morning. We'll see how much we can get done. All right, come here. Come here. Wet. Come here. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you've seen me use this magnetic drill. It's like a miniature drill press. It's held to make a metal surface by a large electromagnet on the bottom here. It has a force of, with adequately thick metal, and it depends on how thick the metal is, 1/2 inch or more, I think. It's 3/4 of an inch. You'll get a couple thousand pounds of force applied in order to remove it. So it clamps pretty well. 3/8 inch it clamps pretty well. 1/4 inch it clamps okay. Less than that and you really don't get the clamping force that is advertised, and sometimes it's not even adequate to hold it in place. But it's a miniature drill press, and it takes Welding shank drill bits. And we'll go ahead and put a drill bit in it and drill some holes with it today. We've got 2 different size holes to drill, and we'll use this. So the drill bits that magnetic mag drill uses are called Welding shank annular cutters, and here's a set. So this is an example. It's an annular cutter. It's got teeth around the edge, so it's kind of like a hole saw in a sense, and it cuts out a plug. And the advantage of using bits like this, especially in larger sizes, is you're only removing the amount of metal that's cut by the annular teeth, as opposed to the whole area that regular twist drill would have to remove. So it removes a lot less metal in the larger sizes like this. The shank has 2 flats on it, 90 degrees apart, and it's held in the drill by a couple of set screws. This particular bit will drill through 1 inch thick material, so it's not for deep holes, but it does a pretty good job. The inside of the cutter has a spring-loaded pin which pushes out the plug at the end of the cut. So those are high-speed steel 1 inch bits. This other set, it will cut to 2 inches deep, and these are carbide. They have carbide teeth on them that are brazed on. So alright, so that's what a mag drill is, and I have a chuck, and most of them come with a Jacob style chuck where you can put the chuck in and then use regular drill bits in them. And conversely, you can get an adapter. I have an adapter with an R8 taper for the mill, and I can use those Welding shank bits cutters in the mill as well. Though I haven't had a use for them yet in the mill. Haven't actually done it, but can do that if I need to. So, all right, we're going to get started here. Drill some holes. Put some holes. Oh, you're all wet. You're all wet. What you doing, Bucci? There's my good boys. My Buddhist and my Brew. My Butchie. My Butchie. Good boy. The wind is howling outside. The wind is howling, isn't it? Yeah? A lot of wind outside. Yeah, my good boy. It is absolutely howling outside. Must be 50, 60 mile an hour winds. This is December 23rd, so we're a couple days before Christmas here, and we've got the bomb cyclone or whatever you want to call it coming through. It's been raining for a couple days, and it is just blown. It was quite the windstorm out there. The boys are in here with me. I was welding a minute ago. That chased them out, but I can't leave them outside in this wind. So they're in here with me. Okay, got the mast. I mean, largely welded together. I don't think there's much else I need to do. I do need to take the cylinder off in order to mount it to the tractor, but I think I'm going to go ahead and put the tires on next. And everybody will be happy to know that I'm going to switch the directions of switch the wheels from side to side, so everybody will be happy about the directional tires being in the right spot, the right direction. I got these two puppies here still. Come here, come back here, come back here, come back here, come here, Butchie. Come here. Yeah. My good boys. My good boys. Where's my Butchie? That's my Brew. Where's my Butchie? Be a good boy. My flag is wrapped around the pole a couple times there. Got the mast temporarily mounted on the back of the tractor now. Took a bit of finagling to get the two bottom pins or bolts in, and they're not tightened up yet. I've got nuts on the ends of them, but they're not tightened fully. So I'm looking at it here. It looks pretty well centered on the tractor. It's of course leaning back now. Now it won't lean that far back when we're done because the hydraulic cylinder will take up some of this space, so it won't lean quite so far back, but I've got it leaned all the way back and strapped so it can't fall forward, hit my garage door. I don't think it'll reach, but don't want to risk it falling, so I'm going to leave it like this for the time being. The carriage is here. I had to take one of the eye bolts out next to the hydraulic cylinder to get the hydraulic cylinder out, but that'll drop right back in. So the next step we'll work on is getting the hydraulic cylinder back in and working on the carriage assembly. So we'll come back next week and pick up where we left off today, and I think that's pretty good progress. I think it fits the tractor pretty well. I'm pleased with the proportions and scale of everything, and it fit the subframe properly, and and tilts. So that's what was important here, to just verify all that was appropriate. So putting the lift cylinder in, and then running the cables and building the carriage, bolting that to the trolley, and putting on the two lift tilt cylinders, setting up, closing in the back of the dash, and putting on the hydraulics next few episodes. So thanks for watching, and leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell, ring the bell, all that good stuff. We'll see you next week.